Hello and welcome to week 8 of Paula's Run Club, the road to London, with me, Paula Radcliffe.
And me, Christopher Thompson.
And we have a special episode coming up for you, one of Britain's most decorated cyclists in Geraint Thomas, who has also a little bit of an outstanding family record to aim for. Welcome to the Road to London, Paula's Run Club podcast. Cycling legend, Tour de France winner 2018, Geraint Thomas, just lives actually down the road from me. Thank you, Geraint, for joining us.
Pleasure, thanks for having me.
And you are, I think we're allowed to say now, you are signed up and committed to the London Marathon on the celebs start list. I guess it's not a huge change endurance-wise, but tell us why you decided to take on the challenge of it.
Yeah, so basically, I retired from professional cycling after 19 years last September. Last race finished in Cardiff, which was amazing. But then, since then, obviously the first month, you're enjoying just eating what you want and drinking, and then October was full of holidays, and Max was off school for a bit, so we had a nice safari, and we had like a wedding in Ibiza, and November came round and start this new role in the team, and I called it a retirement party, but I'm still working, but it's more a stopping racing party, shall we say. And I basically injured my knee trying getting one of the boys squatting down. He's like a 90-kilo lad on my shoulders, standing up, and did my knee in. And luckily, I was going to do George North first. I don't know if you know George North, the rugby player. He's like about 110 kilos. He's a big boy. And he was about to get on my shoulders, and I was like, my knee's a bit sore, actually. Maybe not. Woke up the next day, flying back to Nice, and just could hardly bend my knee. So that was 2 months then when I didn't do anything. Then it was Christmas. Then we went skiing and, mountain diet full of cheeses and meats and stuff. So basically, by then, I was like, I am so unfit and feel so lethargic. I just need to sweat and just when you just get out and exercise.
So just to stop you there, when you retired, you basically just put the bike in the garage and didn't look at it again, or? Yeah.
I rode from Monaco to Nice, and back is like an hour 15 or whatever. I did that a couple of times with some of the boys, like Dave Brailsford or some of the riders in the team, but I can count it on one hand, So, by the time, and then especially after doing my knee then, I couldn't really ride my bike, and I didn't want to run too much. So basically, it was about 3-4 months of going cold turkey, and it was horrible by the end, to be honest. And I wanted to do a marathon. I've always wanted to do a marathon anyway. So around, I don't know when it was, but I got confirmed that I was in London Marathon then, and that's kind of what I needed as well, a bit of a kick up the bum to start some regular exercise, basically. But it's a bit daunting because there's a lot of riders that you've got the engine, but you don't have the chassis at all. It's the joints.
Got any running background at all then? So through cycling, would you do any form of running to supplement what you were doing?
No, only when I was a kid and I go on a night out and you run from a taxi without paying.
How often did you do that?
No, I didn't.
He's barely taxi driver.
No, but no, absolutely none. I did a bit of cross country in school, but I never did any sort of, because in the winter, I just wanted to just relax, and then also I didn't want to get injured as well, so I was just like, I'll just stick to the bike, I won't run. So it's very limited running, or even walking. As a cyclist, all you do is ride your bike really, and then you're sitting down or lying down really. It's just, you don't do much else. So there's been plenty of people that have stopped racing and gone into running, and they have these injuries and stuff. So that's always been in the back of my mind, and I didn't want to get a watch or even on Strava or anything like that, because I knew as soon as I've started now, and every run I'm trying to go a little bit quicker, because so I was just I'm just trying to avoid that to start with, and just start running and just get used to it a bit. But my brother's quite a decent runner. Well, for somebody that works, which really winds me up.
I meet your brother at the sports personality. Was it 2018? It might have been that year.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And wasn't he getting ready for a marathon then?
Yeah, I think he was. It might have even been London that April coming. Yeah, because he was really into it, but then he had twins, and that kind of halted it a bit. But so he's run. I think it's like 2:28 or something.
So the family record's a tough one then.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's not hanging around.
Yeah.
And he got married in just gone in October, and we were like out in Chepstow, and there's a 5k park run, and he's like, "Oh, let's do the 5k park run like the morning of the wedding." I was like, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I need to start running. I'll do it." And he just ran away from me, and it angered me so much, and I was just like, "I can't have this." But yeah.
Did you just, I mean, it sounds like you were just desperate to exercise, but have you done any kind of, try to do some kind of conditioning to help with the impact? Because obviously it is a different, the load that's going through your body is different, and you mentioned your knee. Have you done any kind of gym stuff or doing anything to kind of help with that?
Not really. It's really bad because as a professional, it's weird. As a professional, I was so like on it and so regimented and do the right thing at the right. Then, as soon as I stopped, it just all went out the window. And I was like, even with my knee, like I went to see a physio a couple of times, did a few exercises, and then was like, I don't know. Life just gets. It's just suddenly it's not a priority anymore. And I think it's just that adjustment for me really at the minute, and just finding. I've started a new role with the team as well, so I'm in the management of the team, and that's all going on. Then I want to spend more time with the family because I've in my head retirement that's when I do it, and it's a big adjustment really. But yeah, I do have to have a bit more. I do need to go in the gym and just do a bit of that, but I really struggle with the gym. It's not something I enjoy.
But did you do the gym much when you were cycling then? Was there much? No. There was none. So the gym would be a little bit foreign than going in and sort of learning the type of things you would need to do then.
Yeah, 100%. It's because it's come into cycling a lot more now. But like on the track, they used the gym was just coming in as I sort of stopped the track and went onto the road full time. So I never really got into it. And then I was just always in the mindset of like, it's really hard to assess like the impact of the gym. Like how much is this actually helping me go faster on a bike? And in my head, I always just wanted to. I'd rather stay an extra hour in bed, extra recovery, and then just do an extra hour on the bike. That was my mindset. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. But
no, I mean, I think that works really well for cycling, and we're not going to give you any advice on how to manage it around
no, definitely
cycling.
not.
But for running, there will be a point of condition, because basically the point of conditioning is as you fatigue in the marathon, and the super shoes, and I'm sure you've got a pair of those, they have helped in some way, but the better you can hold your form as you start to get tired, the better you can maintain your pace. So that's the kind of thinking behind the gym stuff. And then I guess we've personally found as older runners that you then get that motivation. If I don't get in the gym, I don't enjoy the gym, but if I don't get in it, then I can't get out and do the running, which is what I want to do. So it's kind of just a trade-off. I'll do this because I know it will keep me healthy enough to be able to get out and run.
You talk about form. Like, what if you have no form in the first place? Like my,
you do though. You have a form, but it's kind of how you would naturally run. I probably wouldn't advise trying to change that, because that is how you naturally run. But that way that you run, after 30k, will start to go all sorts of directions, and not the direction that you want to go in towards the finish. So it's really just kind of maintaining that. I mean, I guess you haven't had anybody kind of look at your running gait, your running form. Do you know if you're a pronator or a 4-foot runner or?
No idea. I did. The physio in the team said I need to run on my toes more. He said I'm a bit more like on the heels.
So you're a heel striker. Well,
that would come from the cycling background. That would be a cycling background, because big part of it is you're retraining the muscles to be a little bit more elastic, and so it kind of. Because your engine is going to be so big, and your conditioning, like I think you said at the start, I can't remember if you said it off air or while the recording, about your engine versus your chassis, and it's almost like it's not about getting fit to run the marathon; it's just retraining the fitness you have through stuff. And I would. This isn't. I don't think it's necessarily about an advice kind of podcast, but one thing I would think about is that you'll get. I would suggest that you will get as much benefit from being in the gym as running, because they're both going to complement the fact that you're bringing out your engine. So with a busy schedule, like I don't know what your access to a gym, and I'm going through the same problems with you of retiring the last year, finding time, other priorities, and all these things. And in my head, I weigh up, well, hang on, a gym is going to be just as useful as a run, but the run gives me a better feel good afterwards for all the reasons you said, sweat. But that retraining your body to bring out the best, I think, is a good way of looking at it, if you get what I mean. You have the engine, it's just retraining it a bit.
So would you say it's like a 50-50 thing then? Like running and gym, or?
I don't know, you need to go 50-50. I mean, if you've got access to it, and a lot of the core stuff you can do at home, so you don't have to go to a gym. So it's almost like you can do it in 2-3 blocks a week, or you could do it in 10 minutes a day, and you can kind of mix it up that way. How old's Max? How old's your son?
6.
Yeah, so you can get him involved in some of the fun core workouts, and it's bad if your 6-year-old is better at a plank than you are. He's going to fire you on to get a little bit better.
Yeah.
And he will be.
Well, when we went skiing,
they're naturally just good.
Yeah, when we went skiing, the physio sent me a couple of exercises to do because my knee was still a bit, iffy. And then they had Max and his cousins, and we were all in the front room doing it. So that definitely makes it a bit more engaging, doesn't it?
And it's a bit of sharing that with him as well. Because, if I think about, and you must, but with the challenge, what are the things that you are most scared of in a marathon build-up? Because I imagine it's not concentrating for the length of the race or the endurance side of it.
No, because that's one thing people have always said, running's really boring and stuff, in it, like, an hour. And I was like, mate, I was used to going out for 6 hours on my own, just like, like that's
You've got
fine.
it.
I don't know, the main thing is just, it's just that competitiveness in me, and I don't want to be crap. And I want to, like, at least have do myself justice, and not, so, I don't know, for argument's sake, say the best I can do is 3 hours, then I'd want to be within a couple of minutes of that, rather than...
And you want 2:59, not 3:00:30.
Yeah. So, it's, but then that's when it comes back to the priority things again, though, because it's no longer a priority, and so it's making sure I get that balance with it. But and it's, as I've already said, about starting slowly and not getting injured and then losing weeks.
I mean, and you've got the perfect backup in that you can do a lot still on the bike that will keep your cardio, and you naturally can do that. So you can naturally train that endurance side of it, and then just concentrate on the quality actual running sessions.
Yeah, that makes sense. But one question I had was, what's the longest distance I would try to aim to run before doing the marathon, and how far out from the marathon should that be?
I was going to ask you, what are you up to now? That's the good question we haven't asked. Like, how much running are you doing at the moment?
The longest I did was 12k, just around down the beach and up and around, like just very back and forth, wiggly and stuff.
Have you found the trails and runs around here?
No.
Just for clarity, Geraint just lives down the road from me, so I probably can help you out with some runs there, because actually running in Monaco itself is kind of limited. There's lots to look at, but it's quite hilly, and there's a fair number of roads and stuff, and you can get out on the coast paths either side.
Okay, so we're from VA, so there's that coastal path's quite easy to get to, but it's like what, I don't know, I know I'm changing subject again, but the etiquette we're running, like what's because I'm running along sometimes, and pedestrians and dogs, I'm just like, get out the way, what are you doing? No, does it annoy you?
Like when you're driving along, Tomo, and those cyclists won't get out of the way, and they're just taking like 3 breaths across the road. What's there? No, seriously. It's a really good question, and occasionally I'm trying to teach my son's just got into running the last year or so, and I'm now trying to teach him to like read what's happening ahead of you, because dogs are the worst, and little kids, because you have no idea which way they're going to go in. A lot of people now are either running or walking with headphones on, and they've got no idea that you're coming up, and then the last minute they'll panic and they'll step the wrong way. So kind of make a little bit more noise coming up on them, give people the kind of opportunity to do the decent thing and think, all right, I'm going to move off to the same side, but you can have a group of 5 people and they'll all go on alternate sides. They won't all step onto the same side as you're running towards them. So yeah, that doesn't help. Some areas are better than others. And I think the dogs is always a difficult one, especially if you're on the lead.
What about waving? Like if you pass a fellow runner, do you give a little hello?
I do.
Yeah.
And so I always say bonjour or good morning as well if I'm out running. And then my osteopath did say to me, he said, "Oh, you're the one who says all these people keep saying to me, there's one runner and they're really friendly to everybody." And I was like, well, why are we not just friendly? We're all out enjoying it. So yeah, some do, some don't. I think it's.
I will say this though.
Runners are pretty friendly.
I will say this though. You might encounter a bit more heckling. Because cyclists, obviously, you're off before anyone can say anything. You might get a car horn, but you do get some funny comments being said, like "Run, Forest, run" or things like this. And so you do get some stuff like that, and you do get some. I don't know, and it's all fair in love and war of people being a bit frustrated if you're on their patch, especially in certain areas, and you kind of, if you're running slower, you kind of make the effort to go around. It's when you're trying to do fast reps, it can get a bit messy because you're coming at pace, and like you say, dogs and stuff. But you do need. There is an element of reading the room, I guess, is the best way I can describe it.
Yeah. But we haven't answered your question about the long run yet.
No, we haven't.
Sorry, I got sidetracked there.
It's a good question, though. It is a good question about etiquette.
Because you don't need to go to the full distance for the marathon beforehand. I mean, I would say 22 is probably enough, Tomo. How high did you go? I think, including warm-ups, I probably got to 24.
24K?
But never more than that. 24, no, miles.
Yeah, but I think Geraint's saying he's got to 12K, not miles.
Yeah, no, but we're talking about as long as you need to go.
Oh, right.
Then I'll flip it back to K, sorry.
Sorry.
Because that's what I calculated it in. You need to be going to, 36K? Max at 36K.
I've got to say, and again, this is about right. It's why it's good to be individualised. I actually wouldn't say that. Sorry, G. I'll call you G now. It doesn't need to go that far, but purely because of his background and what he's trying to do. My feeling is that it's about converting and increasing tolerance, and I think he could probably at this point get away with. I say get away in a purely. I don't literally mean it get away, but I feel like if he got to 25k, 30 in that ballpark, I don't think he needs to go over that personally. And if you could do that like 3 weeks out, work up to that. But again, it's all about if you can't get up to that point for whatever reason through niggles or injuries, I would say this to you, and it's a Steve Cram quote of that. You will have that inbuilt ability that if there was a marathon tomorrow, you'd find a way. And so when that's in the back of your head, it's about just all you're trying to do is trying to make the day easier. So I wouldn't necessarily feel compelled to overdo it. I think if you got to 25, 30, that probably will be enough to get. And then you, as an athlete, as a talent, will find the rest on the day. And then next time you can do more.
Yeah. Once you set the benchmark. Yeah. But I do think the key thing for you, correct me if I'm wrong here, but if you're on the bike, you can put in a hard surge and then you can kind of recover. Yeah. So if you go off too hard in the marathon, it's really hard to recover from. So pacing it and getting the first half right, I think is going to be crucial. So when you are doing those long runs, concentrate on kind of picking it up through it. Rather than starting out hard and trying to hold on, just start out and warm up into it and try and finish quicker each time. So you're kind of training your body to do that on race day, because you're going to find that a lot easier. First 3 mile, especially mile 3 in London, is downhill.
Right.
And so it's really easy to get sucked into going a little bit too fast is okay. That's kind of time for free because it's downhill. But if you get sucked into running too quickly and maintaining that, you can do a lot of damage before you even get to Cutty Sark.
Yeah. Downhill, I don't like going downhill either. Like steep now, it's just like it's so different, and and then running up, you're like, oh, this is a whole new world. This is for me. But downhills used to be so nice.
I know. What about? But you can still recover on it, but you do. That's the part where when we're talking about the gym stuff, anything that you're doing, kind of squatting, lunging, is really helping those quad muscles, which not only are going to keep the glycogen stored in for the later on in the marathon, but they're going to absorb the impact as well. You're lucky there's not too much downhill in London. There is only that bit at the beginning, and then it's okay from then on, isn't it, Tomo?
So with like say volume wise, then would you work in hours or like in Ks or miles?
It really is what works for you. Any of those can work. It's kind of how you like to break it up. I mean,
yeah, because on the bike it's always been hours. Like 30-35 hour weeks is kind of the obviously big, but that's so when it comes to running, say I'm 6 weeks out, is there a rough, or is it again all just on how the body's feeling?
How long is the 12k taking you?
It was 50 minutes.
Yes, he is.
Oh, he's moving.
That's not
moving.
flat either, Tom, around here.
Wow, that's moving.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, cheers, guys.
That's
Better for coming on now. You're just being nice, aren't you?
No, genuinely, it wasn't.
That's good.
I wouldn't have predicted that. And then not again. It's not to
What are you
do
trying
with.
to say, then? I'm offended now.
Brilliant. Yeah. Well done, Tomo.
You know, in the back of his mind, Tomo is aiming for his brother's time, so he's got to be up there. That's why when you said about doing reps, you're probably doing some reps within that as well. So in the week, you've got up to 12k of running. What else are you doing how many times are you running a week?
It varies between. I think the max I've probably done is 4. I try and get at least 3. I try and do day on, day off. But today, yeah, I did like 8 or 9k yesterday and did the same today. And starting out, I was like, wow, man, I'm feeling like in my hip flexors and stuff, and just a few of the joints and that. So I was like, well, I'm just going to run now. I'm not going to push it or anything. So yeah, 3 or 4 times a week, but just trying to be a bit more consistent with that, really.
Yeah, no, I think you'll build it up to a point where, like as Thomas said, your long run will edge up. Your recovery runs will probably stay around about that 8-9k, and then you might, because particularly if you've got your half an eye on a time, you might want to start putting some quicker pace stuff in there. A, it makes it more interesting, and B, then it makes the actual marathon pace feel more comfortable because you've been doing the quicker reps. Yeah, and you can also join groups in doing that, and kind of either go down to the athletics club or just kind of meet people and go for a run and kind of make that into a fartlek or some kind of rep session.
A fartlek? Is that where you go like a triangle type thing? Harder?
It's speed. It's speed play. It's whatever you want it to be, really.
Yeah. So you might pick it up for a couple of 100 meters and then back off, or you might pick it up for 4 minutes and then back off. But it's basically continuous running, but the pace is changing all the time. Yeah,
makes sense. So down here then, is there, as in Monaco, is there any like people that you run with, or are you always on your own?
No, I meet and run with friends. I didn't used to be able to when I was training, but now that I've retired, then a lot of my reason for getting out is just to enjoy it, and so there's a lot more social running. So yeah, I'll meet up with friends. You kind of see the same people on runs, and then you can join in with those as well. There's a good athletics club, and there's a fair number of guys. There's actually a bunch of guys who've been training with my son who've just come off Valencia Marathon.
Okay.
And so there's a whole lot of different abilities down there. So it's quite nice to just go and join that club. They're there on a Monday night, Wednesday night. It's in Fonvier. Friday night, you can probably still get in on your elite athlete cycling thing into the track. They still let you in there. They're pretty supportive of the runners. And then I do a lot of running up in the park. So when you've seen me up along the Grand Corniche, I do a lot of running in that Fort de la Revere.
Okay.
And in the Plateau de la Justice, which is like another kind of, it is a bit hilly, but it's nice because you are off-road. You've probably done it in training.
I've seen the trails and stuff all around, but never ventured off on them.
No, but I see a lot of the cyclists kind of doing reps, and you'll see your team car going up to the top. Yeah.
It's a common place that up there.
Yeah, so there are kind of trails off from there, which are nice because they reduce the impact. You're not running on roads all the time, which you're kind of trying to, you'll find it easy to run, and it's the consecutive on the road that you're probably going to feel. I'll have to meet you, take you for a run.
There you go.
I was going to say.
So I'm not sure.
What are you doing with, or thought about with fueling? Because I mean, you must have to take a lot on with your cycling. Have you thought about that with the marathon?
I have, but I haven't really done much about it. But that is one thing, because we Morton is the brand we use now in the team, and that's worked really well. But again, I'm really bad though, because in the morning I'm just getting Max ready for school. I'll have a coffee and I'll be like, I'll be alright. I'll have something after, and I'll go and do the run and then come back. So I'm always doing the run pre-breakfast. I do need to start, because it is hard to, like, I remember once I was trying to eat when I was running, and you're trying to breathe, and it's just hard work, isn't it? So it's definitely...
Even though you're probably used to doing it at a much faster speed on the bike, it is. But the other thing to think about is you're not going to get the bottles like you have on the bike in the race unless you carry them with you. You're going to just have to try and grab either... I think they do have some water bottles, don't they, Tomo? Rather than cups, but generally it's kind of cups that they're handing out, which is really hard. That is very, very hard.
It does look hard, yeah.
But just going out and doing your runs before you have your breakfast, so long as you eat your breakfast like within 20 minutes of coming back in, that isn't bad. It's when you go to the longer runs and the workouts, then you need to make sure that you've had proper food inside you, and probably things like stitches. You probably didn't get that because you haven't got the bouncing up and down on the bike, have you? So you probably could eat right before you get on it, whereas you need to allow a couple of hours really for certainly for workouts and longer runs.
That's the thing, like, with all this type of stuff, like, if I was telling someone to do it, I'd be like, you're an idiot, just do this, or, the basics, do them right. But I'm just in that phase where I'm just like, I'll be all right, which is, it's so bad.
There's a little bit of that that'll get you through it, though. There is a little bit of that, because you see the challenge in it, and you're, like Thomas said, you're used to overcoming those barriers. You're used to setting goals and working towards those. So that will get you through it too. Don't do yourself down too much.
With the cycling stuff, I mean, obviously, I'm really intrigued by this, because in the marathon, there's a lot of, when it comes to fueling, there's a lot of playing around with the concept of fat burning versus carbohydrate burning. So for you, especially with the Tour de France and the hardness of that 2-week block, and within a race that they are long stages, do you actually avoid fat burning, or is there any form of that fuel that you try to utilise in what you're doing?
Yes, it's changed quite a lot in recent years. So when in like the teens, when Sky were at their height, it was a lot of fat burning, a lot of like low carb rides, a lot of higher protein. You'd have a protein shake, you'd have an omelette for breakfast, go out first, like, well, it was supposed to be 2-3 hours, but me and Froomey would always just sort of, just that competitiveness, and just basically wouldn't eat for like a 6-hour ride. You'd have your protein, and you might have a little rice cake, like 20 grams of carbs. It got a bit like extreme. But then now these days it's gone completely the other way, and they're like fueling 60-70 grams per hour just on a steady ride. So obviously I did change and adapt with that, but it's just doing the same thing, because I know what's right, what in general, obviously running is different, but it's 70% would be the same, similar sort of basics and stuff, but it's just making sure I do it, because I'm just, like I say, just end up being a bit like, just run for an hour, like, just get on with it. But yeah.
But the good thing is, if you think about it, you're ahead of most novice marathon runners, I would say, because at this stage, to be honest, a lot of the people listening will probably still be thinking about what kind of fueling they might want to work with, thinking about how they need to do that. Whereas you are dialed in, you've got gels that work for you, you've got drinks that work for you, you probably know how to load with those in the time before the race and how to use them for recovery afterwards as well. Because something like the Tour de France, in fact, when I asked my son, I said, what kind of questions should I ask you? And he was like, well, ask him whether it's going to be easier to do the Tour de France or just to run the London Marathon, because he's convinced the marathon's going to be so much easier, because you've bounced back day on day on day on day, and that's got to be tough mentally.
Yeah, but I think it's like what we said earlier. I think to get round a marathon, I think I could do it, but to get round properly and do myself justice, then it's just hard, or just as dedicated as you need to be for the tour, really. So, yeah, I think and I've kind of I was speaking to a mate who she runs quite a lot. Well, she does run a lot, and just chatting, and I was just like, oh yeah, got to set myself some sort of time. I was like, and 3 hours seems to be the golden mark for people just starting out. And she was like, no, you can't do 3 hours. You're crazy. Like that'll be way too much, way too quick, and whatever. And then that's when I had just that real inside me. Then I was like, oh right, I can't do it, can I? All right then, I'll show you now. And even though I'd run for maybe 20 minutes by that point, but I think it's just the way I've just sort of been wired over the last 20 years, like racing a bike. Even though, yeah, this is so different. It's something I still want to do well in, basically.
Yeah.
What are you most looking forward to?
Never take that out of you. I think whatever stage you're at in life, because you are that kind of driven, like you were saying, I think before we started the recording, you were saying about how you need a goal to keep yourself motivated. Because I guess most of your life so far has been about picking your main targets for the year or the season and all in towards those.
Yeah, ever since I was 16, it's been that, wanting to perform in X race and just working towards it. And I'm turning 40 in May, and so it's been quite a while doing that, yeah.
It'll be all right, don't worry. I'm there already. What are you most looking forward to on the day? I mean, I assume you've watched it on TV and you've being around running events. Have you done that and stuff as well?
I think just I went, Sarah, my wife, has done. There's a Nice 10K and things like this, and she's done that. Yeah. And I think just that atmosphere and being involved in it and just getting the buzz from it, and that's the biggest thing. And it is a big achievement to run a marathon, isn't it? Really, I don't want to sound like I'm belittling it, but yeah, it's still going to be super hard to do, obviously. And I think just the whole experience of it, I think it's just totally new. I don't really know what to expect. Really, you
will love it. And I would say, have you been to watch before?
No.
I would say kind of look at something like that to experience and to prepare yourself for that, because there is nothing. I mean, the Tour de France is huge in terms of the people lining the routes. London will be way past that. But more than that, it's going to be all the people around you. So even if you're kind of aiming towards the more front end of the race, there still will be a lot of people. I guess that's probably going to be quite hard, because you're used to your space, and when you are training in a big group, if there are people that you know around you. But yeah, you are going to have to, particularly in the first 10K, do you reckon, Tomo? It's going to have to kind of really stay calm, and it might be good in that it holds you back, stops you going too fast, because there won't be a lot of space around you. And there will be people who will be spot you, and they'll want to run I want to run next to Geraint Thomas.
I'll tell you what will annoy me though, if Big Ben passes me, or someone in in a big suit,
The guy or the lady with the fridge, that's when you need to get worried if they pass you.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting, because with cycling, Paul kind of alluded to having teammates around you and you kind of drafting and that kind of effect, how much, because that's the thing with running, there's elements you get from that, but not necessarily you're working together, but you just try and find someone to kind of latch onto or run behind for a little bit, but it's not quite the same effect. So I guess that's the only thing for me that I wonder is cycling, when you are doing 6 hours, how much there is time that you can almost drift in and out of being on the front foot or front pedal, however it's, versus running where you never feel like you can fully switch off, because if you switch off you stop. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I think training wise, you definitely, on the bike you can sort of go autopilot almost and switch off a bit, but in racing you're concentrated, especially more in the last sort of 5-6 years. There's always sort of stuff happening, but I think at least having raced in a peloton, you're used to, like we were saying about pedestrians and dogs and stuff, you're used to sort of knowing or second guessing what people are going to do, and just that type of thing. But at least in a professional bike race, they're all professional bike riders, whereas the London Marathon is just a mix of everything, isn't it? So it is just going to be so different.
They are great though. I mean, it is the camaraderie is something that I'm sure you'll finish, and that will be one of the highlights, because the people around you, you make friends along the way. And you'll be going through a rough spot and someone will help you through it, and then you might see someone else and they're struggling, and you might just be able to pass on some kind of tip. Because I mean, one of the things that we talk about a lot is people having their go-to coping technique. So when it gets really tough, what do you do? Just basically concentrate on one foot in front of the other and just get through it. And you'll have those naturally just there because you've used them on the bike so many times, and you'll be able to maybe help someone out with that. So you will finish, and it will be like, wow.
I don't think I'm going to be slowing down to help people, Paula. This is all about me. I'm actually, like, my brother-in-law's doing it as well, though. So he does it for the enjoyment of it, really, and the challenge of doing it. So I think there's a bit of that difference in mindset going into it. We should stay with each other, really, but I don't know if he wants to go a bit easier and enjoy it, and I'm just like, oh, we could go under 3 here, mate. Like, am I going to want to slow down?
I think you've got a few weeks now between now and then to kind of get a gauge of how close you are together on fitness, and certainly as you do those key workouts and you get 3 weeks out, 2 weeks out, you'll know whether you're on the same page or not.
To be fair,
you've got to find out if you're on the same start first. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, he's done it before. He did like 3:10, I think it was. So I think we're like going to be similar, to be honest. I just need to go back to Cardiff and just do a few runs together or something. But we'll have to go out though, Paula, so I can go back and be like, mate, I've been running with Paula for the last 2 weeks, mate. I'm flying.
Definitely. I'm not sure I can keep up, so you're going to have to catch me on a good day. But I'd love to show you some of the trail. I mean, I honestly think we're really lucky here. We've got some beautiful, beautiful trail runs and stuff. So
it'll be good to see.
Good to get out and enjoy.
Hopefully the finish you'll be able to absorb and enjoy rather than worrying about any kind of sprint finishes, unless you do see 3 out, 2:59:30. But the last.
Big Ben. So your markers wise, there is. I'll have to tell you about it. There's a red telephone box. It is a mile to go on the embankment, and then Big Ben is 1200. So once you kind of make that turn, you see Big Ben. Then that really means I'm everything you've got left. Then you can put into it, and the crowds are just mental down that final bit. So it will be really good. But if you get to Big Ben, and you see like 250 something, then just keep going hard.
There's more similarities to bike racing than realise. Like, it's the same in cycling. Like in Belgium, there's like that house with the red door. That's when you've got to be in front and all this and that. So I'm going to just be there.
It's just something like the marathon. There's less need to read the tangents and stuff like that, whereas it's pretty crucial for you. There is a blue line. I don't know whether you'll see it because there'll be that many people around you. You probably won't be able to find the blue line, but that's technically the shortest route.
Do you know what, Paula? I always know I'm struggling when I look for tangents because it doesn't make that much difference. But I know I'm panicking. I'm like, I need to do the tangent here. I'm struggling.
Last bit, those few turns, because that's the other warning part. If you are really struggling in the closing stages, it seems like there are way more turns than there should be to get onto Birdcage Walk, because you turn. When am I going to make the final turn and actually see the gantry? But everybody's doing that, and they do kind of mark it out, so you'll sense it. But just be prepared in your mind that it's not the first turn, it's not the second turn, it's almost like the third or the fourth turn before you actually see the finish.
Oh, I'm pumped now. I'm excited. I might go for a run now.
Another one.
You just done one this morning.
Yeah, but
Could I just quick before, because I know we're going to probably need to stop now.
I've got one more key thing, Tommy. I was going to drop you in it then.
Drop me in it.
The recovery tips, because I'm sure that Geraint knows all about cryo and getting an ice bath and stuff. So Tomo's bought an ice bath and it hasn't come out of the box yet. He hasn't yet used it. Tomo might try and get in there by the time that you run London.
To be fair, I don't like a cold. They are. I much prefer a sauna to an ice bath.
Yeah. Especially in the winter. I just can't do it. It's already cold enough. I kind of my ice bath at the moment is walking Theo to school and back with less layers. Rather than tugging up, that can be my ice bath.
You did have the perfect opportunity in the summer. You know that, right?
I will do, don't worry. I need to. You know what? I need to run more. I need to earn it through running more.
And you did have one more question. I cut you off. Sorry. What was your question?
No, it's fine. I was literally going to ask. The last question I was going to ask was: have you found your body as you've started to run over the last few weeks? Do you feel like your body's growing into that impact, and it's kind of almost feeling like that it's becoming more familiar for the body?
Yeah, definitely. It does feel like it comes a bit more easy, apart from today after running yesterday. But I do feel like if I have a weekend off, which I normally do, and then on Monday if I run, I'm like, oh, actually, the legs are just turning over a bit more now. It's like, rather than almost forcing myself to just run, which might sound weird, but yeah, I just felt that the flow is slowly coming, but it's it's still a long way to go though, isn't it? Like, just 8k is like, oh yeah, wow, I did 8k today. Yeah.
The other thing is it goes much quicker, and you will get to that point in the marathon as well where you'll see the 8k and you'll think, oh, that's easy now, and it's 8k to go, and I know I can do that because I do that day in, day out.
Yeah. And
you will reach that.
It's about enjoying the process, isn't it? That's one thing we always talk about in cycling, and I am at the minute. I'm really enjoying just having something different to go after. So, yeah.
Brilliant.
And I don't know this for a fact. I feel like this. I'm right in saying this because I'm not a professional cyclist, as you know, but I feel like the tapering process is a lot more aggressive for running. So you need to kind of reduce the volume going into the race a lot more than necessarily with cycling. Because I feel like cycling you can push things a bit closer because of the lack of impact, but with running you get to have a bit more rest beforehand. So that's a good thing. Yeah,
that's one thing I've heard actually. I was going to ask. Yeah, there's like a week out or so where you don't even run, maybe.
Yes, well, the last week you do very little. You can do a couple of runs, but I mean, I used to rest completely 48 hours before.
That's mad,
And then just probably be about a third, if that, of my normal weekly volume in the week before.
Yeah. So I'll be doing like, 2k?
If you're doing 6k normally.
Certainly when you get to like Thursday before the race, you kind of would start to... I used to like to chuck a rest day at the beginning of the last week and then kind of drop down, but keep a little bit of turnover in there, so some strides and stuff like that, but not too much volume. The length of your long run for the last 3 weeks will be coming down. So within the last 2 weeks, you're not going to do anything approaching marathon distance, because it's all done by that point.
Oh, nice. I can enjoy Centre Parks then. We're off to Centre Parks at some point then.
Just don't go down on your knees.
Yeah.
Just stay away from the running sports at Centre Parks, whatever they are.
Right. Okay. Thank you very, very much for joining us. Just remains to say, wish you the very, very best of luck. If you do want any tips, please don't hesitate to reach out and maybe keep us a bit updated on your training. And we'll be cheering for you.
Thanks a lot, guys. It's that was very useful for me more than anything. So I appreciate it.
I think you've been very useful for a lot of our listeners as well. So thank you for sharing those with us.
Thanks for having me. Cheers, guys.
Well, Tomo, what do you think? I think there's a little bit of serious preparation being hidden there. What do you reckon?
Do you know what? You can't take the competitiveness out of someone.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, he is. Do you know what? I loved how laid back he is, but he's what I really found fascinating is how he knows how to kind of be calm and emotionally kind of sort of level, because obviously he cycles so much through his career. He's probably spent more time training than not on a bike. I mean, I wish I'd asked that question in terms of percentage of his life over the last 20 years. And you've got to be emotionally very in control of yourself. And he was very relaxing to interview. He wasn't. It was very peaceful and nice. I don't know if you felt that as well.
Well, I'll let you know how relaxing it is to try and keep up with him for 12k when I take him out on and run the trail. But I think you're absolutely right. I think what is impressive, and we talk time and time again, don't we, about how in the marathon you have to get to that point where you're kind of using minimal energy, but you're still aware of all the little logistics that you need to be thinking of through that marathon, gauging your effort, keeping a lid on it, not getting carried away in the first half. If you multiply that by whatever, you probably get to where you need to be in the Tour de France in terms of managing the effort over the length of that period of the race and not kind of burning up your energy too much on any given day or too soon in that, 2 weeks is it that it goes on for? And I think you're right. He's very, very good at doing that. So I have very few concerns, if you like, about him going off too quick in the first half or not being able to maintain concentration through the event. I do think he's setting a little secret goal there, and he's training hard towards that, and it's a very, very tough, challenging one. So good luck, Geraint, and I'm excited. I'm looking forward to A, seeing if I can keep up with him on training run, and B, seeing what he can do out there on the London Marathon course.
Yeah, no, I really admire the kind of his respect, and he's almost looking for us for the confidence he can do it. And again, you're talking to someone who's achieved what he's achieved in his sport. To a certain extent, I'm almost going like.
But that's healthy, isn't it? I mean, they do say respect the marathon. Don't be afraid of it. Yeah. And I think he's probably illustrating that really well. And it's really great advice for anybody going into that first one. It is a tough distance. It's also an amazing distance. So be not scared of it. Just respect it. Don't waste energy thinking, oh my goodness, I'm so scared and about this marathon. Just get on with it. Give it the due respect. Put the training and the preparation in. And let's catch up now with Charlotte, who is somebody who is also a first-time marathoner that had a fair few challenges thrown at her. She was dealing with shin splints the last time around. Let's see how she's getting on with those now. Okay, now it's update time, and it's time to drop in with Charlotte Davis. Hi, Charlotte.
Hi.
Now we are in week 8, of course, Charlotte. That marks pretty much the halfway point in the building towards London. Are we in a good place? How have things been going?
Not in a great place in terms of running at the moment. I'm still injured, so I'm just trying to do what I can. Obviously, I'm very aware of the weeks ticking on and the fact that I'm not able to build up mileage per se. But I'm just trying to do what I can in terms of strength training and cross train as much as I can, just to keep the fitness there, keep the motivation there, keep the drive there, in the hope that I'll be able to at least turn up on the day and still enjoy the event, hopefully as pain-free as possible.
And it's the shin splints issue that's still bothering you, is it?
Both shins. I'm just hoping that that's all it is and it's not developed into something worse. I am going to a physio and working with the physio just to make sure that I'm not doing anything that's obviously going to make it worse. I'm just trying to manage pain, sort of making sure it doesn't come back, doesn't keep me, stop me from running much longer term than hopefully a few more weeks.
Yeah, okay. And in the meantime, you are getting that endurance in there and you're keeping the cardio up. So try not to panic. It is the worst thing, particularly when I'm going, we're in week 8. And so you see that the weeks are ticking by. But remember, you're not doing nothing. You are working on this kind of bump in the road, as we said, is generally built into most of the marathon training plans anyway. So let's hope that you're going to come through this. I mean, aside from ice cupping up and down the shins and getting potentially a podiatrist and your running shoes checked out, have you got any more to add, Tomo, tips-wise?
Well, I was going to say, are you doing stuff, activation stuff in the gym around the hip and glute areas or anything like that at the moment?
Yeah, so I've got a bit of a strength training plan where it's a lot of single leg stuff, a lot of calf raises, a lot of basically trying to work the muscles around the shins so that so much of the force of running isn't absorbed by the shin. And it is helping. I'm seeing, obviously, I'm building strength and I'm going up in weights and that kind of thing. And I guess it's keeping me on the plan and keeping me going with it, which is a good thing. But yeah, I'm just trying to focus on that, trying to eat well, trying to do all the right things, basically. So we'll see.
Do you have, so how, because you say it's always an interesting terminology, because you started this by saying I'm injured. So it's almost categorizing yourself in that mindset. But in reality, it's you're doing lots of things. You're still on that process towards London Marathon, and it might not be necessarily the thing that you started out plan A, but you're still on a plan. So in terms of where you're at with these shin splints, what plan have you got in place to start hopefully feeding in more running? Are you kind of testing the pain each time, and increasing the runs? What's your plan around feeding it back in?
So at the moment, I'm doing sort of run walk, minute running, minute walking, just testing that that's okay. Doing a few reps of that, building up the minutes of running, and reducing the minutes of walking. Obviously, kind of monitoring any setbacks, doing the rest, doing the stretching before and after the icing, just trying to make sure the pain isn't getting worse. So I am running a little bit. Obviously, it's not at like the long run length that I should be doing. I want to be doing every weekend, but doing that every 48 hours, going out for a little run, despite the weather, is kind of at least keeping me in that mindset of I'm trying to get back to running, if that makes sense.
And that's pain free when you're doing that.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just, you can just sort of feel it a little bit afterwards, which is when I'm doing the icing and the sort of monitoring it.
Are you feeling the tolerance improve though each time? Are you seeing kind of almost like light appearing at the end of the tunnel that, hang on, a week ago I'm doing more than I could then? Are you seeing that progression?
I think so. I'm being very cautious, obviously. I don't want to make it worse. Sadly, I was meant to do a half marathon next weekend. I think I'm going to have to sit that one out, but I know in the long term it's much better for me to be cautious and to take these like safer options and look after myself now, so that when it actually gets to race day, I'll be in a better position and I know that I'll put the time in to kind of recover in the right way.
Yeah, I mean, that's, I think, really sensible. It's normal. Charlotte, this is probably your first big injury, is it?
It's something that I kind of had last year, but it's come back. So
okay, so there's a bit of trauma there with it. So it's normal that you're kind of looking for it, if you like. When you finished your run, you're thinking, is it there? Is it a little bit worse? You're a little bit hypersensitive to it. And I can remember my physio, Geraint Thomas, giving me some great advice way back when I was doing that. And he said, basically, when you're coming back, try and not check in on the injury all the time. Try and not look for the problem, because if it's there and it's big enough, it'll talk to you. Which was really good advice in terms of not over-analysing it. Because yes, you need to be aware of it if it's still there and not making it worse, and be cautious, but you don't need to be looking for it. If it's loud enough, it will talk to you. So yeah, fingers crossed it's going in the right direction. I think you're doing all the right things, particularly checking in with the physio and following that physio advice. You're just going to have to be patient.
I was going to add to that as well, Paula, because that's really good advice. Because I think it's so important to deload the brain, and one of the things I like to do around, because again, I'm going back to that comment when you said injured, and I think reframing that is that mentality makes, as Paula say, makes you look for the pain, but I think it's just about sectioning it off, and so try and create the rehab or stuff you're doing to help it as a routine. So when you've done it in that section of your routine of the day, it's no longer part of your day because you're moving on to the next section. So you keep consistent with when the recovery is or when the icing is, and you keep that routine in and move on to the next thing. So you're not always carrying it with you, and like Paula says, check in. The only other question I was going to ask you was in terms of just general walking around when you're in the office, what's the kind of footwear you're using? Are you kind of trying not to wear shoes or kind of high heels, or what kind of footwear are you generally in during the day when you're not running or training?
Normally just trainers. I tend to wear the same pair of trainers pretty much all the time when I'm not running. Just something I wear to the gym normally.
Okay, I'm just wondering, I don't know about you, Paula, but I just wonder about changing that up a bit so that your feet have something different to kind of like that, in terms of just releasing that a little bit.
I mean, I don't know. I would be cautious if it's improving of changing too much again. But having said that, putting in the foot strengthening exercises, which I think is what you're alluding to there, Tom, I think that's a good way forward. If people forget that kind of the shin muscles, yes, they're to pull your foot up and down, but they also hold the arch in place. So the stronger that your intrinsic foot muscles are, the kind of you're taking a little bit of the work away from those front of the shin muscles. So yes, I think what Tom is trying to say is that kind of changing up the what your feet are adapting to every day and not allowing them to become lazy, will help to take the pressure off the shins a little bit. Even just sitting barefoot, chucking your shoes off when you're sitting at your desk and just doing kind of toe scrunching exercises on the floor is a great way to actually subconsciously be doing something that is taking away a little bit of the workload from those shin muscles, which will allow them to get strong and recover.
I would ask your physio, and I don't want to overdiagnose on this. I'd ask your physio about very light kind of isometric kind of holds through those shins, to use another word is like just to help build the tolerance of the tissue, because that's effectively what you're doing. You're trying to help build tolerance in those tissues. You're not trying to build strength, you're trying to build tolerance, and isometric stuff is a good way of doing that, as long as it's done without going to fatigue. So I would just ask that question of them. Do you
want to explain what that is, Tomo, quickly?
Isometric is more of an exercise where you hold still. You're not moving. You're not eccentric and concentric. You're just holding a tension through a muscle that can be loaded or not. But so effectively, if you stand on tiptoes and don't move and just hold that's an isometric hold where you just create tension through the muscle, but the muscle's not having to work in eccentric or concentric. You're just putting load through it. And you can do that in a light kind of minimalistic way, just to encourage muscle efficiency. Is the best way I can describe it. Is that relatively good, Paula?
Yeah, that makes sense. No, I'm just conscious that for Charlotte to understand, and anyone listening as well who wants to implement it, just so they know what that means.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Just carry on doing. If you listen to the rest of the episode that's about to drop, you'll get some tips from Geraint Thomas about how much on the bike can actually help you as well. So just remember, Charlotte, you're not doing nothing. You are training. You are putting that work in. So try not to panic. Try and stay optimistic. And remember to repeat for your brain every day, you are going to get better and you are going to get back racing and training normally.
Yeah, I guess I wanted to ask as well, obviously the strengthening and stuff is really important, but the cross training is also important. And is there a proper way to do that? I'm trying to still have, the faster sessions and then the long, slow things and like different heart rate zones. I mean, can anything be as good as time on your feet? Obviously, I'm trying not to be on my feet at all.
The big thing with cross training is it depends which type of cross training you're doing as well. But for pretty much any of them, the heart rates are going to be a little bit lower because you're not actually propelling yourself forward. You've not got the full impact moving forwards that you would do when you're running. Or if you're in the water, you've got that kind of cooling effect of the water around you as well. If you're on the bike, you're not weight bearing. So there's lots of ways that you can be working as hard and getting the cardio training effect, but you won't see it reflected in the heart rate as much as you would do when you're running. So the big thing is not to panic about that. Unfortunately, it does sometimes mean you've got to do a little bit more time actually on the cross training if you're replicating with a bike, or push it harder. So by that I mean if you're doing reps, whether it's on a rower or on an elliptical or on a bike or in the water if you're aqua jogging, you kind of need to cut the recovery down because you will recover much faster because you're not jogging on it, walking on it. Does that make sense, Tomo? Is that rough rule of thumb?
No, completely. I think the only thing I would say in terms of the positive mindset of why it's worth it is because your heart doesn't know. It doesn't know anything other than how much it's beating. It won't know whether you're running, swimming, or whatever. And so you're in that sense take a comfort in the cross training is working you in a way that not all your body's going to be aware of what exactly it's doing, whether it's running or cycling. It's almost transferring it into running is the bit that becomes the challenge, but not a challenge that's not just not impossible. It's just part of the sympathetic approach to it. So I think what would be really good for you to take away, the biggest thing I want to say is, don't think of yourself as injured, just think of yourself as you're on a different path to where you're trying to get to, and the cross training is benefiting you in so many ways. It's not just about the physical condition of running, it's about parts of your body that, like your heart, doesn't know. It doesn't have a clue. So you're benefiting different things. And there's also benefits to cross training that you can tolerate more than you could necessarily do running. So you could end up doing more exercise because you haven't got the impact. And like Paula says, the recovery is a lot quicker. So there's a lot of benefits to all of this. So yeah, keep positive. You're doing great.
You're doing all the work. You're putting the base work in. All we're saying is that you need kind of, once you make that transition and you've got enough time to make the transition back to just being able to tolerate the pounding when you go back to running, your base mileage, if you like, is still being put in. It's just been put in a slightly different way. So no panic. Stay focused and keep doing what you're doing, and good luck with the next phases.
Thank you.
Well, talking of Charlotte trying to juggle her injury, hopefully she will come through that. I think she's doing everything right, isn't she, Thomas? She's ticking all of those boxes. She's just got to stay patient, and it's the hardest thing when you are injured, is staying patient and keeping your eye on the main picture. Keep reinforcing in your mind you will come through it, you will get back to running. And on that, Thomas, it's your 1 minute challenge on injuries. So for this 1 minute challenge, the pressure is on. Here's a tip: use the little clock in the corner of your computer.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
So your challenge is the strangest injury you've ever had, or the strangest way in which you've injured yourself.
Okay.
You ready?
So, are you ready? You can say ready, so they go. Go on then.
And go.
Okay. So this happened to me back. Oh crikey! I must have been 2021 in my university days, and I basically was on a night out. I'll be totally honest. I was on a night out and I was walking back home after the night, but I wasn't that drunk. But obviously, I must have been a little bit kind of wobbly. Anyway, I was walking with actually my sister and a few friends, and I was walking backwards, talking to them at the same time. But I was walking on the pavement, and I slipped and I sort of fell back off the pavement. And as I fell back, I put my hand out, or my right hand out, to sort of protect my fall, and it got jammed right under my back and the floor, and I sort of crushed my wrist. And I got up, I was like, oh, that's really painful. But obviously you're a little bit tipsy, get home. Anyway, the next morning, I slept with my wrist between my legs. It was so painful. I woke up, I couldn't move it. It was just so painful. Went to the doctors, and it turned out I'd broken my scaphoid bone, which is one that has very little blood supply, and I couldn't move for like weeks. And it was risky whether it would heal or not. But I was running with a plastic cast, and I know I'm slightly over, but I've been off for a year. I've been off for a year, so when I started back running after missing a year of injuries, I was running with a plastic cast after being out for a year, and there's all these pictures of me getting back into running with a plastic cast because I'd broken my scaphoid. It had nothing to do with the reason I was a year out. So 15 seconds over. That's not too bad.
I made it at 30, but never mind.
No, that wasn't that.
It was close. It was a good effort. It was a very strong effort. I've done it. Whether we need to add any more injuries into that? Have you noticed the side of my face, by the way? Because Raf did hit me in the face with a medicine ball the other day. That was a strange injury, but actually it's not going to be an injury, hopefully. Just a bit of bruising, that one. Right, training corner. Where are we going to be this time? So we're halfway through at this stage, and people are getting really stuck into the long runs. I'm going to throw out there, it's time to start. I know we haven't brought the expert in on that yet, but it's time to start really thinking about your fueling during those long runs, because the distance is starting to get up there, do you reckon?
Yeah. So it feeds into that, and I think it's all part of this equation, and I think it's relevant to Geraint's episode of conservation of energy. Mm-hmm. I think when up until now, the runs will have taken you to a place of energy or fueling comfort, and now we're entering a phase where you're going to start pushing that. And I think that intensity at the beginning, or the enthusiasm, means you can get a little bit kind of almost too trigger happy. And as training gets longer, the early parts of those runs need to have that conservation of energy, that protection of your energy for the latter stages. And I think practicing that, so it feeds what you're saying. I think I'm going to say it again, conservation of energy.
Yeah.
It's like the buzzword of the theme of today, of we're halfway and we're starting to tilt into the challenging second half of not just this training phase. The runs are tilting into the length of time that you would be in for going beyond halfway in a marathon, all those challenges, and just being mindful of your setting up the second half with the first half.
Yeah, because things do get really tough as you start to kind of manage the bulk of the training load that is going in there. So it's making sure all the little things are in place to enable you to put the maximum energy into those training runs. So make sure you're sleeping well, you're fueling really well. As we said, start thinking about what you're going to use to fuel if you haven't already on marathon day. Start trying out those different things. Putting the research in. Actually, can we tell people we can't yet tell people what's available on the course, can we? But we will try and find that out to get back to you with that. But certainly looking at previous years, you can look at that. You need to find what works for you in terms of what you're going to carry with you, and make sure that you're putting that in long runs and really focusing after those harder training sessions, be it a long run or a quicker session. Make sure that you're trying to refuel and rehydrate as fast as possible afterwards. But the main point being that we are, of course, now halfway through the training. So you've done it. You've got to 50% of it is done, ticked off and tucked away. A lot of those learning curves and experiences have been gone through. So you're now going into, realistically, probably another 5 weeks of hard work. And then you're starting into the easing down bit, which is the fun bit, getting ready for the really fun bit, which is the race bit itself. So give yourself a pat on the back for making it halfway through this, and maybe a little note in the training diary for how well this first half has gone, building into the next one.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So now it is time for a quick ad, and it is time to thank our friends at Wild Nutrition for sponsoring this episode. They are offering all of our listeners a 50% off for 3 months, which is a brilliant way to kick off the year.
Yeah, it's a good offer, this. I think for most of us, especially with the training we're doing, and it's very topical to the episode we've been talking about, that food-grown energy support is exactly what's needed to feel armed to tackle each day head on. It's got the a suite of essential B vitamins that really make a difference.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And it's not just those B vitamins. It also contains iron, magnesium, and vitamin B12 to support energy production while reducing tiredness and fatigue. It's great for the immune system and antioxidant health as well, which is so important when we are putting in those miles.
Yeah, what stands out to me, it's like caffeine is a nice sort of quick fix that can help, and I certainly am not immune from using that from time to time, but there's nothing beats that sort of some energy support that provides sustained energy throughout the day, and it's a much steadier approach for your routine on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely, and that's because Wild Nutrition believe that your body is wired to absorb those nutrients from food. They never add synthetic fillers or binders ever. It's just quality ingredients that your body actually recognises.
Yeah, so Wild Nutrition are giving Paula's Run Club listeners an exclusive 50% off for 3 months and a free personal consultation with a nutritional therapist. Just go to wildnutrition.com/Paula to get started. That's wildnutrition.com/Paula, so you can feel the difference yourself. Start 2026 rooted in wellness. Terms and conditions do apply.
Absolutely. And sticking with the offers, we do still have the offer running from NordVPN as well, which is, of course, that protection with a VPN to enable you to keep watching everything that you normally would watch at home, be it streaming, be it athletics, be it road races, be it whatever you want to do, as if you were still at home while you're traveling. But more than that, it also protects all of your data as well.
Yeah, I think it's something that you and I have both used in the past, especially when we've been based in abroad or training. It's that comfort away from home. We talk about it a lot, but I think sometimes there's something comforting about seeing those series or whatever it is you're used to, or those subscriptions you have at home, and not having to redo another subscription, and it's all in one place, all tidy and neat for you to kind of use what you already have in place. It's very handy, isn't it?
Absolutely. And of course, that VPN stands for virtual private network. So what it does do, if you're logging on in a hotel or something with a lot of shared Wi-Fi, it does protect all of your data while you are logging on to watch all of that. So that's a good thing too. For that special offer, you can head to nordvpn.com/Paula's Run Club, or you can click on the link in the episode below and you get a massive discount with 4 extra months thrown in.
All with a 30-day money-back guarantee too. And you can also have 10 devices on one subscription.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It is up to 10. You don't have to put 10 on.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's phones,
so
tablets, laptops, it's all of those. So that's nordvpn.com/Paula's Run Club.
And that is just about all that we have got time for. It has been a packed episode. Hope you've enjoyed listening to Geraint and look forward to catching up with you for week 9. You have now done half of it, remember. And just a quick reminder, the weekly shakeout drops on a Thursday. If you have any questions for that, or indeed you want to put someone onto the honours board, it is Paula's Run Club at momentumbroadcast.co.uk, on socials at Paula's Run Club, and that WhatsApp number +44 7564 747 914. This has been a Momentum Broadcast production. Thank you for listening.
See you next time, guys.